Bear with me as I try to put my thoughts together on this one. What's the plan? How do you fight back? Whose side are you on? Well, to put a fine point to it, it's not as simple as Bud Light versus not Bud Light, straight versus gay. It isn't about any of that. I'm trying to connect these dots. Landshark saying the campaign beginning in the 1960s. And I'm putting that together with something my best friend's dad said. He was a child of the 60s, like a teenager during the whole revolution that happened, the whole Woodstock tune in, turn on, tune out thing. He explained to me one day that there was a revolution and it ended without a shot being fired, and people disappeared, and all kinds of other crazy shit happened. It made me think of, say, the likes of Hillary Clinton going from being a hippie activist in the 60s to positions of power later on. And then once those people got those positions of power, they never seemed to let go. Look at all the Congress people in their 70s and 80s from that era, just becoming, for lack of a better term, like a mainstay of royalty. What was different? And is this campaign from the 1960s where we actually fifth generation warfare then? Music had come into play, the FCC, things that were shown on television, music festivals, that kind of stuff, drugs, psychedelics, psychotropics, Mother's Little Helper, that kind of shit. Were those the things that began grooming minds to become this battlefield of torture? Then those campaigns and those offensives become further refined as technology improves, finds its way. People become desensitized. Human bandwidth is expanded. Dump truck. Human bandwidth becomes expanded, and the old story doesn't work as good anymore because it just doesn't stimulate as hard as what people have become desensitized to. Is it necessarily deliberate or the evolution? That was the other thing that the S2 Underground mentioned, that the warfare being declared on the people by their own government may not have even been on purpose. It could have been happenstance that even started it, which makes sense in a way. Because if you have some sort of a network and communication algorithm that's designed to put people in groups and only serve them what it has calculated they want to see, everything else becomes painful as that person's polarity turns into a certain thing. So the question is, who's the enemy? And that was the primary thing about the fifth generation warfare. The enemy isn't clear. In fourth generation warfare, the enemy is somewhat clear because maybe you at least know who your friendlies are, who your people on your side are. I will tell you one thing though, there are consequences. I personally felt it the last couple of weeks, just a utter absence of inspiration that I would normally have. Everything seemed to be a fight. Nothing seemed to really be going my way. And feeling better the last couple of days, I cannot tell you what the damn difference is, other than me having this realization that the gray space between my ears is a precious commodity in a battlefield. Believing that and understanding that also as my weapon has really helped and eased me through something that I've known in the past, and somehow I lose sight of it from time to time. The biggest thing is understanding, say, the weapon of your enemy. The biggest thing, maybe. That whole gaslighting. Getting a person to question their core realities or their core definition. It just changes something. It tortures and torments them. For what end? And what is the clear victory? That the person is simply tormented? I mean, I just see it. I see it with this generation. And with the older generation. The MAGA people delighting in that. So let's say it's a given that Trump is an asshole. He gets elected. And I've seen people admit and clearly delight from the reaction, oh no! You guys have seen the video where everybody freaked out after the election. And they loved it. They loved that those people with the pink and blue hair hurt. Because they thought maybe, I don't know what they were thinking, but maybe they thought if you're hurting over something stupid, then you should hurt because it's something stupid. Meanwhile, the other side delights in their hurt when something goes the other way, when they throw a boomer fit. See where I'm going with all this? I'm just thinking those aren't the two sides. Those are divided subgroups, and something else is working against them. And somebody else is laughing the way all the way to the bank.